mean, you can have the best neurologist, you can take your pills on time, you can do all the dancing and exercising and eating cookies and all that stuff we do. Right? How many of you gained any weight over Thanksgiving? Did ya? Didn't it feel good? I think I gained it now. I was all excited. If you don't set that positive note, then you can't have a positive life. And without positivity, you don't have quality. You got me? And it's so much easier to be a sourpuss or to be sour grapes with this disease, isn't it? Because the challenges are huge. What are they? I always try, when I try to roll you into positive, I want you to really take a solid look at what negative is going on for you. What makes it so hard? Huh? The physical losses. The physical losses. Like what? You can't write anymore? I was never big on writing notes. My mother forced me into a thank you note with every single thing I ever got. You open the box, you write the note. Right? It is nice though to get a thank you note, isn't it? Yeah, you lose your ability to write. You know, sometimes you start out big and then all of a sudden you go down, and by the time you finish your sentence, you don't need to put a period there. Because that's the end of your last word. Right? It just goes big. Micrographia, we call it. It's one of the benchmark symptoms. You do better with that if you use the lined paper, if you so choose to write or journal or write notes or whatever. I think that technology with the computer makes it a lot easier now, right? Doesn't it? I think technology is terrific, but it lacks emotion to me. It's a machine, you know, it's words, it's fast, it's all this kind of stuff. I shouldn't be putting it down in the 21st century. I'm fighting it. But you know, I'd rather hear your voice at the other end of the telephone, or I'd rather you stop by to see me, because I think you lose something, you gain something actually with the one-on-one relationship with somebody, with the eye contact, the body language, the smile, and the verbiage, right? And then you add the hugs and the kisses and everything else. So that's a meaningful communication. But you do lose your ability to write. What else have you lost? Your physical function? Things a little harder for you to do things? Huh? Tie the shoes, button the buttons, cut the meat.
Yeah, you slow down.
You slow down. Slow is fine. Slow and easy is fine. The world is too fast. Slow is good, right, honey? There's nothing wrong with slow as long as you don't stop. Yeah, you can go slowly.
Can't drive.
You can try. I'm still on slow. Hold on. You can slow down. It can take you longer to button. It can take you longer to eat. You know, we have a member here. It takes them an hour to eat. It's no big deal. It's normalcy. We all expect it. Who cares? As long as you continue to feed yourself and to eat. So there's no right or wrong with this. There's no normalcy with this disease. All right? You're going to be slower, but you're going to do it anyway. You're going to do it anyway. And if you need to continue to maintain your independence, and then you have to allow enough time in the morning to get up, get groomed, have your breakfast, take your medicine, get dressed, get in the car, get over here to see us by 9:30. Right? And you amaze me, very few of you are late for class. Right? Okay. The ability, the loss of driving privileges, big hot button, right? Big hot button. It's really in the forefront with Parkinson's disease, because so much that you need to drive safely, the key word safely, you lose as you get older, and you lose particularly when you have Parkinson's disease. So what do you need to drive safely?
Reflexes.
Reflexes? What happens to reflexes with Parkinson's? What happens? You see a squirrel and he's heading your way. You know, I ran over a squirrel once. I got out of the car to see if I could revive him. I couldn't. I heard this boom, and I was like, I did. I was mortified. This poor innocent thing. But I was fine if I didn't hear the boom boom. I was like, I got out, and the poor little thing was falling.
well, they play chicken with you.
Yeah.
They do.
I don't know, I'm not big into rodents, but that rodent really got to me. Okay, so you need the reflex. You need the reflex that if you see, heaven forbid, particularly in this town, which is not the safest place to drive. Between the mommies with the buggies in the middle of the street running with the baby carriage, which drives me crazy, down Weber, drives me crazy. Or the daddies with the little kid on the back of the bike with no helmet, that makes me maddening, okay, all right? Or the other people crossing the street that can't see, all right, don't know red from green. So your reflexes are critical. You lose your reflexes because of your slowness and your rigidity with Parkinson's disease. You lose the process of, I need to stop. Telling your brain body to do it, and the time it takes for your body to do it is a little too long. All right? That's a risk factor. What else do you need?
And depth perception too.
Your depth perception most often is off with this disease. It's like when you look in that little mirror here, and they say it's either further or closer than, you know what I'm saying? So I say to myself, why is it there if it's not accurate? Because I can never remember, am I closer or further away? All right, but your depth perception, where is the table? Where is the floor? Where is the fork? Okay? Where is that person? How far is Dusty really from me? Okay? You need the depth perception because what happens when you see the red light? A normal person, when they see that red light, they will automatically realize, I need to start slowing down here. So I'm not giving a whiplash to the person driving with me when it's time to stop. Right? Visual problems, big with Parkinson's disease, some blurred vision, dry eyes, blah, blah, blah. And the other thing too is the normal process of aging. Guess what happens every time the sun rises? You're a day older. It's called better with age, right? So don't blame it all on the Parkinson's. But what I'm saying to you is, driving is a privilege. It's a huge piece of independence. It's something that you have done your entire life. When do we start driving? 16? Right? My grandsons, I won't admit this, were driving around my circular driveway at about 12. And the golf cart and everything, right? So it's a normal thing. It's an impulsivity. I need this, I'm going to go. I have an appointment, I'm going to go. And it's very hard to give this away. You lose the impulsivity, you lose the freedom, you lose the independence. But if you know you are not right to be behind the wheel, it is your responsibility, my Parkinson patients, to say, here you go. I can't do this anymore. And a lot of you caregivers aren't exempt either. I don't want to tell you that. Right? You're not exempt. And it makes it even hard for you because you have a responsibility now of getting your loved one around, of meeting the needs of your home and your responsibilities of your life, and you need that driver's license. So nobody, as they get older, is exempt from the time is now that I should not be on the road. It's not right, is it? Is it?
No.
Thank you. All right. So if you lose the privileges of driving, we find other ways. There's people sitting in this room that have no personal drivers. They cannot drive anymore, and they get to Parkinson Place every single day. So you have no excuses with me. Anybody want to say something over here? Okay, what else do you lose?
Coordination.
Your coordination. Your balance goes kaput. Why? Your muscles get weak, your muscles get rigid, your reflexes are off. And then you compound it with the aging process of arthritis and some of the other things that go on, right? So you're falling more, you're at a higher risk of falling down. We all know the problems of falling. I'm not going to talk to you today about falling. Okay. What else do you lose? You lose physical, all right? You lose emotional. This disease affects you in all 4 components. I figured this out, I think, last year. Physical, mental, emotional, and social. It impacts those 4 wonderful components, which to me makes you whole. All right? You lose some of the emotions. It will slow you down. It will slow down your thought process. It doesn't just slow your body, it slows down your mind. You know that. It becomes harder and harder and harder for you to hold on to the positive emotion. What is an emotion?
Feeling.
A feeling. How does Parkinson's disease make you feel, my patients? How do you feel?
Depressed.
Depressed? What else?
Frustrated.
Frustrated? What else? You are not off so bad. They were a double big cookie, weren't they? I saw them. What else? Depressed? Frustrated?
Hopeless.
Hopeless?
Helpless.
Helpless? Challenged? What'd you say, Barb? Anxious?
Angry.
Angry? Thank you for admitting angry.
Lonely.
Lonely?
I can be angry.
It's interesting how, who said lonely?
I did.
You did lonely. Okay, lonely is, these are all feelings. You know, these are all intangible feelings that live inside of you. It's very hard for you to explain your feelings, your emotion to someone else. Anger is a very difficult emotion. It's probably the most dangerous one. You can be angry for a moment or two or whatever until you wrap your head around what's going on. Do not let anger overcome your life, because if you're angry, then none of the good stuff has any room. You understand me? If you go around angry, none of the good stuff has any room to get in. Okay? And it will really be your demise. You can't be positive, empowered, hopeful, confident, enthusiastic if you're angry. And if you're angry, I encourage you to work your way through that. You know, some people, you need to have a certain amount of graciousness with the ability to accept your diagnosis. It's very hard. Nobody wanted it, can't get rid of it. And I ask a lot of you when I say graciously accept your diagnosis, graciously accept who you are today. Don't let the anger kick in there. If you're overcome by anger that you can't get past it, you need to see a professional that will get you through it. You got to get out of that mode. All right? It's dangerous. Loneliness, how many of you feel lonely? It's a very interesting emotion. You can be lonely in a football stadium, all right? In a movie theater, in a conference hall, in this room, you could be lonely. What does loneliness mean? Being by yourself?
No one to talk to.
No one to talk to?
It's a mental feeling.
It's a mental feeling of like longing, isn't it? Kind of. When I feel.
Always a physical.
No, it's not the fact that you're in the room or you're in your home in the recliner by yourself for 3 days and nobody calls you. That's the physical component. But loneliness is the feeling of loss, the feeling of need to be around someone that matters to you. I mean, I'm not lonely. If I don't like you, I'm glad you're not in the room with me, right? But if I really like you and love being with you and you make me feel terrific, then I long for you. I want you there. You know, whether it's a loved one, a child, or a whatever. I remember when I used to go visit my father, he says, "I'm so lonely for you." You know, and I said, "Well, I don't know what I said." And he used to start saying, "I can still smell you." You know, I would leave and then I'd spray my water all over the house so he would be lonely for me for a week. You know? But lonely is a longing to be with somebody that really matters to you, somebody that really makes you feel whole and happy.
Friends that have left you because you have a disease.
Well, that's the other component. Lena said, friends that have left you because you have a disease. Do not take this personally. I've seen it in all aspects of healthcare. People have a lifestyle, right? They have a lifestyle, whether it's a child, adult child that loves you with all their heart, whether it's a best friend, whether it's a sister, whether hopefully your spouse hangs in there with you. But if you fit into their lifestyle, you're doing great, right? But if you don't fit into their lifestyle anymore, it's just like if you become divorced or widowed. There's somebody missing. We don't have a foursome or a sixsome or an eightsome. You don't fit in anymore, so you can't come anymore. All right? And a lot of people will leave you behind. Let's just put it that way. That's the nicest way that I can put it because he's taping me. They'll just leave you behind. And it's a lot of times that they don't have the patience, the kindness, the attention to give to you. A lot of times they have their own problems. They don't have time for yours. All right? A lot of times, you slow them down. You just don't fit in anymore. But I have found through any challenge in life, whether it's illness or challenge or sadness or hardship or whatever, you really will know who loves you by the end of the voyage. Because people that truly love you will not forsake you. They will not forsake you, no matter what. So you will really qualify. And it's so easy to say, I love you. You can say that to me 35 times a day. But it's like, what are words? You love me if I'm in need and call you when you're there. You love me if you know I'm off, if I'm not right for that day, and you automatically know that I need some support and some help. Am I right? So don't be lonely for people that really don't give a flip. And I've seen this, don't consider it only Parkinson's disease because you get older and you get a little more limited with your function. I did not use the word disabled, did I?
No.
I did not use the word handicapped, did I? They're not in my vocabulary. You are physically challenged, right? But I've seen it, y'all know I did oncology for 30 years. I did cancer nursing for 30 years before I was recruited into Parkinson's disease. And I would have so many people say, my neighbor used to meet me at the mailbox, and we'd chit-chat or come for coffee or whatever. And once they had a cancer diagnosis, they never saw them again or they never came in. A lot of times people don't understand. Don't be over-judgmental for people that sometimes don't mean to be cruel, right? Because I always play the positive net. I think the people in America are wonderful and kind. And I think most people, probably 95% of them. Now there's a couple in there, that we need to whoop. I have trouble with them. But the majority of people are very kind and very patient, and they will help you. Am I right? Did you find that?
Yeah.
Help you with those, could the doors be any heavier trying to get into wherever you've gotten? So try not to feel lonely. Try not to feel lonely. It's a hard thing though, isn't it? Another thing that you lose sometimes along the way is your memory, your executive function, your cognition, your thinking. That's tough too, isn't it?
Yeah.
That makes it very, very, very hard when you can't remember as well as you did last year. You're losing the keys more. You can't do a 3-step command. You lose your executive function. That's another loss. This disease takes away, and you have to fight all the time to hold on to what you are and who you are. And the best thing you can always realize is that, I tell this of everybody, that what makes you wonderful, what makes you that terrific human being that each and every one of you are, no disease can touch that. Do you understand me? All the wonderful qualities that make you extraordinary, that make you so easy to love, that makes it easy for your caregiver to care for you and want to be part of your life. There's no disease out there that's going to take away from you. It's in there. So I always encourage my caregivers on days that you want to shake them and, just say, I've had it with you, Toots, all right? Always, always, always look behind the eyes and remember that they're in there. They might look a little different, act a little different, talk a little different, walk a little different, dance a little different, whatever. They're in there. Don't ever, ever, ever lose heart of that. And my caregivers, if you ever have a day that you're feeling stressed, depressed, out of control, you ever had those days once in a while? I had to do this one more day, I don't know what I'm going to do here. All right. Always get behind the eyes of your loved one. Always go in to where they live and realize, what are they thinking? What is life today like for them? And it's the fastest, easiest way for a caregiver to get on the same plane, to get themselves in the kind, gentle mood, which a caregiver needs to be. Pete.
What are some examples that you can give of when you know it's time to give up the reins and hand it over to your spouse to take care of?
When you give up the reins,
The reins, no, I mean
the power play, the power maneuver.
taking care of money,
Well, you know, it's
financing, doing a bill.
you know, that is exclusive between the husband and the wife, or the patient and the caregiver, right? It's usually a progressive thing. You know, lots of times, particularly the generation that most of you are in, you know, it's funny how, you know, the wife does certain things, certain home and hearth and that kind of thing, and the husband did the career and the financials and that kind of thing. I think it's pretty much the generation of where most of you come from. It's evolving now, all right, that most women particularly are able to do just about all of that, you know. But it's an evolution of, well, say my husband always did the financials and the bills and the, you know, stuff like that, and now, you know, he's having trouble balancing the checkbook, he's having trouble running the electronics payments, you know, he's forgotten a little bit, he's making mistakes. You can do a transition of, you know, why don't we do it together for a while? Some men hate to give it up. It's a kicking thing. I mean, screaming and kicking, you know. Once you realize, ladies and gentlemen, that you're not the best person to do it, it needs to get done, it needs to get done correctly. And it's just simply easier to let the right person in the relationship do it. This is no time to stand on pride or to stand on, you know, it's my job, I did it for 50 freaking years and I'm going to do it for another 5. It only leads to problems and hard feelings. You got me? So once again, it's the act of graciousness. I am messing up the accounting. I can't take care of the financials. You know, I can't pay attention to detail. So now you go on and help me do that, please. Do it graciously. It's one more thing you're giving up, but you need to give up. Patients and caregivers, you need to work together. You can't all of a sudden say, well, he has Parkinson's or she has Parkinson's, so I'm taking on everything. I'm going to be a dictator here, and I'm going to do everything, and you're going to do nothing. That's not fair either. Because this is a person that, you know, you've been a team, you've been partners for a very long time. And you can really offend and hurt and demoralize and demean somebody by saying, you know, you have Parkinson's, you're just not doing it, forget it, it's easier for me to do it. Because you caregivers, it's your role and responsibility to keep them engaged, to keep them thinking, to keep them responsible. But when you all know that it's wrong, whether it's medications, that's the other thing, medications, we hear about medications all the time. When you know darn well that they can't do that med box, and when you know darn well that they are making mistakes, can't remember if they took it, didn't take it, got the right number of pills in the cup, you have to say, sweetheart, and it's all about how you say it. You know, don't say, give me that box, you're done, I'm behind the box. Alright? You don't do that. You just have to say very graciously, you know what, I think it may be better for everybody, because your meds are so important for you, that you let me go on and oversee that for you. How does that mean? They might just be able to sit there with you and watch you do it. But you need to take ownership, because your role, caregivers, is safety, security of you, of your loved one, and of your life. All right? And don't be afraid to do it. You know, the role reversal so many times in marriages, it's tough, isn't it? Because a lot of you caregivers, heck, you have enough to do. Now you got to do my stuff and his stuff and the house stuff, and it's hard, isn't it? But it's an evolution. It's an evolution based on the personalities, based on the progress of the disease. Right? But work together graciously and agree. There's the thing. Meet in the middle. Right? When you converse with somebody, quiet, gentle, respectful, tone. How many of you yell once in a while? Oh, look at the honesty. No, he's waving, man. Feels good to surge on that. If you're going to yell at somebody, you might as well not even speak to them. Because once you raise your voice, you've lost the conversation and the ability to communicate. They will shut right down. You know, it's not nice if you want to talk with somebody and gain something from the conversation, which is why we can communicate. I'm not going to talk to you unless I can get something. Or to get you to get into my camp, or to help you to understand something. Unless you can talk quietly, peacefully, respectfully, courteously, don't have a conversation. All right? And if you do explode, I'm so sorry, I'm tired, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. All right? How to tackle time and harness stress. How do you deal with the stress of Parkinson's disease?
Taking a mini vacation.
Really tough.
Many vacations, my caregivers. Caregivers, please, please, please. What's the number one priority for you?
Stay healthy.
Stay healthy.
Number one priority is you. You caregivers, you have to understand it. Has nothing to do with selfishness, conceit, lack of love for your loved one. It's the survivorship mode for a caregiver. Because if you get stressed, depressed, out of control, sick, lowered immune system, if you start feeling overwhelmed, hurt by the entire process, you can't give away what you haven't got. And if you're not feeling positive and empowered and gracious, you can't make a positive contribution into the life of your loved one. And that's what you're trying to do, am I right? You cannot carry this burden day in and day out, round the clock, day after day, week after week, year after year, without taking time for yourself, without asking for help, without taking free time, without being a part, and without making yourself the priority and giving yourself everything that you need, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and every other way. You've got to do it, because you will go down. You don't even want to know how many caregivers I have seen pass away before the loved one. All the time. All the time. More times than I want to even think about. So you caregivers, if you don't want to believe me, you just do the little exercise, what happens to your loved one if something happens to you. What's your exit plan? Huh? I'm out of here. What's your exit plan? You have one? If you don't have one, I encourage you to have one. All right? What's the quality of life for your loved one that you're taking care of if you're not in the picture?
You have to be the one to make the first move or second move or whatever move it is.
That's right. All right. You patients, you encourage your caregiver to get out, to do what they love to do. You have got all these fine services here. You can take your pick. You should have a whole portfolio, extraordinary people, that will give you a day or a half a day a week or 2 days a week, or whatever you can handle, to get up and get out. Please do it. Please do it. It's good for you, and it's wonderful for your loved one. You know, I always find it so funny because you get the right caregiver in there, and you're at risk because usually they like their caregiver better than they like you. Right? Yeah, when are you going out, honey? Sale started an hour ago. So do it, it's good for you, it's good for you. Have a different pace, different conversation, and it's, you know, we have to worry about all of you, the whole picture. The husband, the wife, the family, the dynamic at home. You know, it's not just about you. So you patients, you need to be very concerned about the status of your loved one, you caregivers. And if you know darn well they're tired or if they're stressed or whatever, you know, you might not be able to clean the garage or groom the dog or whatever you're doing, but you know, you can sit down and say, you know, I'm a little worried about you, you're very quiet today, or you seem very tired, you know, what can we do to make it better for you? You are not exempt from paying a positive contribution into the life of your caregiver. Please. Do you understand me? This is your responsibility to be a team, to be partners. And just because you have Parkinson's disease, you don't have a one-way ticket to the recliner. To the recliner. You do as much as you can for yourself, you do as much as you can for your loved one. You are partners. Your caregiver is not waitstaff, not concierge service. So tackle time, harness stress. This is the most stressful disease out there. I always say it affects you 25-8. We're way past 24/7, right? If I ever live long enough to write my little book, it's going to be called 25-8. It's tough. It's difficult. All right. Get your priorities straight. You know, so many times in life we are so busy being busy that we don't really understand what really matters. What are your priorities? Tell me. To be happy? What's that word mean to you? Remember when we talk about Parkinson's disease so many times, the words, the emotions are not positive, are not happy. How many of you are happy that you have Parkinson's disease? You love it, right? How many of you caregivers stood in line and said, pick me, I want to be a caregiver for the rest of my life? I love him, but do I really, right? All right. You want to be happy. You set a priority to be happy. You set your disposition. You set your mode. I will be happy today with this disease. All right? Because you control it. You cannot control what this disease does to you. You cannot control the progression. You cannot control how you respond to your medications. But you can control how you respond to it. And what are some of the greatest tips and tools for living well with this disease? You play the positive note, the positive attitude, all right? You be gracious for your life. You must be under the care of a board-certified neurologist. How many of you are? This is the key. You all know that we have Dr. Juan Sanchez-Ramos here, fellowship-trained movement disorders specialist. He is absolutely brilliant. He comes here once a month for the Ask the Doctor. I just finished the agenda for next season with Dr. Juan, and we are going to be having a specific topic for the month that Dr. Juan is going to speak to you about the different areas of interest for the Parkinson patient, Lewy body dementia, speech and swallowing, all the other topics of interest. He's going to be doing a mini talk, and then we're going to be offering up 30 minutes of a Q&A. You must remain empowered. You must remain educated. PRF, Larry and I, we do 3, sometimes 4 conferences a year to get you the up-to-the-minute updates on Parkinson's disease. Read, learn, research, know your disease. You can't fight a ghost. You got it? You have to understand the disease. You have to understand what it's doing for you. You have to rely on a physician that's going to take wonderful care of you. And then we have Dr. Domingo to help you with your psychological support. You all know him. There he goes. I get him every time he sneaks through here. He thinks he's sneaking through, but I do that to him deliberately. Right? Psych support is really, really important because all the emotions that go on sometimes can really bring you down. So we're so happy that Dr. Angelo Domingo, he's a fellowship trained neuropsychologist, trained at Yale, fellowship trained at Yale. We have the finest of the finest here for you. He's available in this suite right here. You just, we'll give you his phone number. He takes his own appointments. He is extraordinary. He will work independently with you if you're stressing and struggling with the disease. He'll work with you as a family. He'll work with the caregiver that might be feeling overwhelmed about living with Parkinson's disease, all right? So he's right here, all right? You gotta move, you gotta keep your body, mind, and spirit up and moving. You know, if you wanna stay alive with Parkinson's, you have to stay out of the what? Recliner, all right? If you have a recliner that calls your name and gets you in there and won't let you out, you can donate it to our next garage sale. All right? Keep your body, mind, and spirit up and moving. You've got to move. That's why we have Parkinson Place with our 83 programs. Are you doing the exercises?
Yes.
If you're falling, if you have poor balance, which comes with this disease, you need to be in each and every one of the exercise classes. Why would you not be? They're free. All right? We also have physical therapy. How many of you been through the big program? The big program? Have you heard of the big program? Big program is terrific. You know, Toya, she is right here. She is passionate with it, with your balance and your mobility and your transfers. You can qualify for this twice a year, which is terrific. Medicare will pay for this twice a year for you. Anytime that you start slipping a little bit, we'll get you back up. Because if you can't keep moving physically, you're not going to have quality of life with this disease. Okay? How do you tackle time? How do you do twice as much in half the time? You're a little busy, my caregivers? You're nodding off on me. Stay awake. Huh? You a little busy? Have you taken on more responsibility than you had in the beginning? How are you managing all of this?
I just take longer to do it.
You take longer to do it, but you still do it. See, there's the motivation. Don't say to me, Marilyn, it takes me 2 hours instead of 20 minutes to do a task. That's no excuse. You're going to do it anyway. Because it's been proven, the more you do for yourself, the more under control you feel. Do you hear me? The more you do for yourself, the more under control you feel. Ladies, do you want him putting on your lipstick and doing your do?
On himself or on us?
Huh?
Putting lipstick on himself?
Oh, on himself? Don't tell us more than we need to know. All right?
Sounded funny.
You want to do for yourself. You want to get up and do for yourself. It's a sense of pride and esteem. I want you up every day in the shower and dressed. If you have a gray shabby bathrobe hanging in the closet, throw it out. You with me? It's a state of mind. You must have an agenda. You must have a routine. You must have a reason for the day. A lot of times, even seniors without Parkinson's disease, they don't have a reason. What is your reason? What is the reason for your life? Why do you matter? Why does your life matter? You can jump in any time now. This is what happens when we give them chocolate chip cookies. They're good for 20 minutes and then they start. Huh? Why does your life matter?
Because we're special people.
Because you're very special people. What do you do to make the world a better place? You know what I taught you, you know, at the close of the day, very quietly say to yourself, what did I do today to make the world a better place? It doesn't have to be a big razzle-dazzle. Did you know that? It doesn't have to make the headlines. It doesn't have to be on the evening news. It can be just a little tiny sweet thing that you did to make the world a better place. Like what?
Participate.
To participate, to help others. It amazes me It's one of the bonuses about living here in Parkinson Place Monday to Friday, is I watch you take care of each other. You don't even know you're doing it half of the time. But I watch you watch over each other, keep each other safe, pick this up, serve each other, get each other up out of the chair. That's very important that you do that you feel an ownership and a camaraderie for other people. Right? So does your life matter?
It definitely does.
It definitely does, says Miss Carol. Right there. Here's an example of a lady that really overcame so much with her disease. And for the most part, she did it on her own with her Parkinson Place family. Right, Carol?
Definitely.
So, hear the confidence? Definitely. All right? Please realize who is responsible for your life. Who is responsible for your choices and for your quality? I didn't hear you. You are. Not me, not your doctor, not your husband, not your wife. You own your life. You own your choices. Your life today will be exactly as you choose to make it, based on what you choose to do. This disease will run you over like a train. It has the potential to do it. I've seen it happen, not very often, but it has the potential to really rob you of quality of life, but you may not let it. You have got to stand strong in your head. You have to get off your emotional knees. You have to say, I have a wonderful life. I have wonderful things in my life. I will not let this disease overcome me, and I will look forward to next week and to next year.